All right, so here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us here live on Facebook. Here we are one more time with another special guest that I'm very, very super proud to not only have met, not actually we've never met personally, we just met here, online. It's crazy what technology is nowadays. You get to meet people, some amazing people that now have become my friends, but now more so like family. So for those of you guys who are just joining us for the very first time, I want to go ahead and thank you for watching us. This is something that I wanted to go ahead and do. It is called Keeping It Real. This is a show that I wanted to go ahead and do and interview people, amazing people who have gone through some very challenging moments in their life, but also at the same time, how becoming a coach, using our programs has helped them in their life specifically. So this is what it's all about, guys. That's why I wanted to go ahead and do this, because a lot of times you probably see us on Facebook or on Instagram, you see our pictures, you see our videos, but in reality, you're like, okay, what is it that they're talking about? What are they doing? So this is why I wanted to go ahead and do this, to keeping it real, to keep it raw, keep it unedited, because it is straight, live. So anything can go. I mean, we have kids. I know Lacey has her kids. So it's like, I'm sure at any moment, they're probably like, Mom, Dad. So
yeah.
That is life, right, Lacey?
Yeah, it is. But that's why this is raw and real. It's real life. My kids are busy on their iPads right now, but I'm sure they'll get bored soon.
Yep. Alrighty. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So Lacey, thank you so much for being on here. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time.
Well, I appreciate you too, Gio.
Thank you. No, the honor is mine. So thank you so much. So Lacey, you know what? Let's go ahead and dive right into it. Before you even became the person you are today, I want to go back in the day, to where Lacey didn't know nothing about, what is coaching, nothing about the programs. How were you? Let's talk about a little bit about yourself, a little bit, of course, of who you are. I know you have kids. I know you're married. So let's just delve into that, and then we can kind of go from there.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm married. I have 2 little girls with my husband. I actually have 7 stepkids, and I don't know if you knew that.
No.
I have 7 stepkids, and I have 12 step grandkids. So I know that's really hard to believe, but my husband had kids super young. So from his previous marriages, he had a few kids. They're amazing. I am so appreciative of the family that I've married into, because his kids have always been amazing. And, his grandkids are so much fun, and they play with my girls. My girls call them cousins because they're closer to that age. But, that's a modern family. My husband says that we're white trash, and I say we're modern family. So I don't own to being white trash. I know that's ridiculous, huh? We're originally from Idaho. And we travel for my husband's work. He's a construction superintendent. So we get the opportunity to travel all over the world, really. Before we had kids, we traveled all over the world. We've been in Romania, Poland, Hungary, England, South Korea. We've been all over. We've lived in those countries, but then we've been just everywhere, all over, traveled everywhere. And in the United States, we've been just everywhere. So awesome. We feel fortunate to have that opportunity to travel, and for my girls to kind of see different places, meet new people all the time. It's a really rich life experience for us. So, that's fun. Before I had kids, before I traveled with my husband, I was an X-ray tech. I did MRIs and CTs too, but I wasn't certified for that. I just worked at an imaging center. And then once I traveled with my husband, then I kind of worked as his clerk for a while on construction. So it was really fun for me to be able to work with my husband all the time and be out on his job sites and see him all the time. I know a lot of people think that might not be the greatest thing to see your husband all day, but that would be my dream, is to have my husband home with me all the time so we could see each other all the time.
I think, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think to your point, it is, everybody to their own, right? I mean, let's be real. That's why it's called Keeping It Real. There are a lot of people, who are married. They're just like, oh, I do not want to see my husband. I don't want to see my wife every I need my space to me. But to your point, there are people too. It's like, you know what? I would love to go ahead and have my husband with me. I would love to go ahead and have my wife with me. So again, to each their own, you know, so it's all good, Lacey. All right. Sorry, go ahead and continue, please.
No, that's about it. That's me.
Awesome. Well, you know what? There's the introduction, guys. So we're going to go right into the now how Lacey got introduced to doing the programs, got introduced to doing the coaching opportunity. And mind you guys, for those of you guys who are watching, you heard it. She is a busy mom.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I want to go ahead and tell you guys, because for her viewers, for my viewers, I know in the back of your mind, you're thinking, yeah, it's all fun, it's cool, but I can't do that because I'm busy. Like, I'm a mom, I got so much things to do. I'm a dad, I got so much things to do. I am busy. You know, let's be real, guys. You know, we go ahead and put that word out there, but in reality, how busy are you? So let's go ahead and dive into, you know, how you even got started with the programs. Like, what was your first program that you ever did, and how did it make you feel? What was the overall experience with that?
You know, it's funny because my first program, I was, you know, I started traveling with my husband in 2008. And because, you know, he was traveling, he got this job, he was traveling. I was still working in my career and I enjoyed that, but I never saw him. And we didn't have kids at that time, not together. And you know, I missed him, but I was starting to think, you know, why are we even married? We don't see each other. I mean, he was gone for 6 months at a time. At one point he was in Latvia and I was still working, and it was rough for a time. So we finally just decided one of us needed to quit our job. Troy happened to make more money at the time. So we were like, well, guess what? You're going to make the money and I'll travel around and we'll do that. So I quit my job. I traveled with him. The first few months were so hard because I had to kind of reinvent who I was and what I was doing because I was so wrapped up in my career as an x-ray tech, and I loved that. I love working with patients. I love serving people. And yeah, I was in the hotel room being bored, watching TV, and I saw an infomercial for Shailene Johnson's Turbo Jam.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, see, this is something I could do from home. You know, I could do this in a hotel. I could do this anywhere, because before I had gone to gyms and I loved the gym, but because we traveled so much, it was so hard to keep a gym membership. I just couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to order this. We were staying at a hotel for 3 weeks. And so I was like, okay, I can get this shipped here and it'll come in time. Well, guess what? It didn't come in time. But we were traveling all around New Mexico, so I was able to go back to that hotel. I asked them to hold it for me, and I picked it up, started Turbo Gym. Nice. I loved, it's like one of the first workouts I'd ever done from home, because my roommate at one time when I was in college, she had, what was that guy's name? Anyway, it was like a turbo kick kind of video.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He was like, I don't remember his name.
Was he the African-American gentleman?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I forgot his name too. But I know what you're talking about.
But I did one of those videos once and I'm like, well, this isn't really for me. I love the gym. But not, I didn't have the gym at this time. So I just like dove into Turbo Gym and I loved it so much because it was just fun. Turbo Gym is fun. You like punch and kick, and Shailene Johnson has amazing energy.
Yeah.
So I kind of fell in love with that because it enabled me to have something besides running. I love to run, but my knee, I tore my ACL in high school and I can't run the same way I used to. I can't run more than like 5 kilometers before my knee just gives out. I could probably train that up, but anyway, that's another story. So Turbo Jam, awesome. I ended up getting a bootleg copy of P90X from somebody else, and I loved that too. I did P90X and it was awesome. I love that program. I tried Insanity, another bootleg copy at the time. I know that's terrible to admit, but I was trying these bootleg copies of these workouts.
That's why it's keeping it real. That's why it's keeping it
But I loved them then. I loved them. And the thing is that when I was trying those, I would recommend them to people all the time. In 2010, I was still doing my bootleg copies, but I really loved Beachbody. And
Mhm.
I saw that my now coach, who became my coach then too, Scott Hobbs, I grew up with him. Everyone calls him Scotty, but Scott Hobbs, who I grew up with, was starting to coach online in 2010. And I was like, hey, you know, I have a Beachbody coach, but he's never talked to me. So I switched over to Scott because I saw he was doing it. I didn't at that time coach. I just loved the programs, and I was like, hey, here's somebody who's doing Beachbody who can be my coach, because my actual coach has never contacted me. So I switched to Scott Hobbs, and I started using, and Shakeology came out that time too. 2010, Shakeology just barely came out. And the first time I mixed up my shake, I mixed it with a spoon. Can you believe that? Can you imagine drinking that after you mix it with a spoon? It's not good. It does not mix well. So
Yeah.
I mixed my first thing with a spoon. I'm like, I just bought this really awesome shake that's supposed to give me health benefits, but I hate it. So, but then I found some more information, and I mixed it in a blender, and it was so much better.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've been using that since 2010, and I knew about the coach opportunity, but I was like, I am never going to coach. That is just not for me. That doesn't even sound, like something I want to do. Now, fast forward to, a couple of years, I stayed active. I was still drinking Shakeology. I loved it, but I never wanted to be a coach because it just wasn't for me. I didn't even care about the discount at the time, the discount that you can get with being a coach. I was like, I don't need that. I don't even want to be a coach. I don't want anything to do with it. So fast forward to when I had my first baby, I gained 70 pounds in my pregnancy. It wasn't that bad. I'm tall. My weight distributes differently, but still at the same time, I cannot hear with that. Can you please move that? At the same time, I was just like, I have this 70 pounds I've got to lose. I didn't feel healthy. I felt my joints hurt, and I was struggling, with a little bit of postpartum depression. I was, trying to take care of a new baby, trying to fit into this new role as a mom. And I was struggling. I was majorly struggling. I couldn't lose the weight. I thought I was eating healthy, but I'd never faced that kind of thing where my hormones completely changed. I couldn't just lose the weight by exercising. I was in pain while exercising, just pregnancy and birth and everything just took a toll on my older body. I mean, I was an at-risk pregnancy because I was 35 years old when I had my first baby. So, my body wasn't awesome. I wanted to lose the weight. I thought I was eating healthy. So anyway, I saw my coach, Scotty Hobbs, on Facebook posting about a challenge group. I'd never heard of a challenge group. I'd done the Beachbody programs before, but I'd never done the challenge group before. And the program was Insanity Max 30. I fell in love with the challenge group. There was so much support and love, and people just were cheering each other on. And I was just like, oh my gosh, thank you for this community. The other thing I was introduced to at the same time was the 21-day fix meal plan with the containers. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I have been eating proportions that are way too big. I've been eating healthy, but my portions are too big. And it was like mind blowing to me. I don't think people realize how many carbs they eat. Like a carb portion is tiny. It's not big. And so I was totally overeating carbs. And I'm sure a lot of people who think that they're eating healthy and can't lose weight don't realize that carb portions are so tiny. But that was me. I fell in love with the challenge group. I fell in love with, being able to lose that weight. I lost so much weight so fast when I just started watching my portion sizes and exercising at the same time. That program revolutionized everything I had previously thought. And then, after that, I tried 21-day fix, which sped the weight loss even more because I couldn't do some of the moves in Insanity Max 30, but 21-day fix, that combination that she does with the lifting and cardio, I mean, that just blew it out. I lost 30 pounds in it wasn't a 6 week, it was more like an 8 week period. I lost 30 pounds because I lost 20 pounds really fast, and then it took me a little bit longer to lose that, but I was so pleased. And at that time, Scotty also like was showing people what coaching was about. And I'm like, why have I been so afraid of this? I saw him that the coaching actually meant just sharing what you're doing and like helping people accomplish it with the challenge groups, with everything. It wasn't, I don't even know why I was so scared of it. Maybe just because of like others have thought that I thought it was a pyramid scheme.
Right.
But really, after I watched that, it was like a webinar that Scotty did, and I was blown away, because it was so much different than I had ever previously thought. And so like I went, for all those years scared of coaching. And once I finally educated myself and found out what it's really about, I was all in. I was just like, this is incredible. I've never been in such a community like this, where people just cheer each other on. They love each other. They motivate each other. They're not like, how online everybody's so nitpicky, they judge, they tear each other down. And these people in these groups aren't like that, because they just are vulnerable. They're able to be vulnerable in the groups, and they're able to share with each other, and they're all kind of on the same level, where they're just they're aiming for a goal. And being around those kind of people, just it blows your mind, really. Like if you've never been in that kind of environment, just amazing.
I
truly
agree. You know what, Lacey? It's funny that you say that, because I think the number one thing on anything, and this is not just about going ahead and doing this as a business and doing this on the part-time side. I think the number one thing, and even Les Brown said this, the number one dream killer is fear. The fact that you don't know what is on the other side, because you haven't been there yet. But once you are there, you start thinking, wait a minute, it wasn't so bad after all. But it's just that initial reaction, that emotion that ties into whatever fear is and whatever you develop inside of your mind. Because again, keeping it real, it is in your mind. The number one thing that you really have to focus, and that's what I love about it, including yourself, and I'm sure I want to delve into this right after I finish, but is the personal development. That is one of our number one things that we need to focus on, because I, including myself, in my 40 years of existence, I've never been at a particular business to where they really focus on you first, where everything has to be mentally done first, physically first, you first, and then you share it, and then you're able to portray, what you've learned, what you've done, and then share it to the people and say, hey, look, this is a real deal. Like, not are we only losing the weight, we are mentally preparing ourselves, and we are being better fathers, better mothers, better spouses, better leaders, better educators, better communicators. That's what I love about it, because let's keep it real. In any job that you work at, I highly, highly doubt that they do that to be the first thing that they need to do. It's all about the skill set. It's all about what you need to do to prepare for that particular job, where this is totally the opposite. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and delve into the personal development. How has the personal development helped you with your everyday life? Because I know there's millions and thousands of moms out there watching later on this, let's keep it real. It's probably going to be, a couple of hundred, but little by little, I'm gaining some traction,
Yeah.
I mean, the stories, that's what I love about it, because the personal development does help. And I've never been one to be doing personal development. I honestly thought in my mind, I'm like, yeah, whatever. That's just, for people who want to, I don't know. Honestly, I was just like, whatever. It was just not for me. So let's delve into that. How does that help you out before, now, and of course, for your future self?
Oh, it's incredible. The shift in my mindset. It's funny, because I grew up with a dad who is in business. I mean, he has a business degree. I grew up with those kind of books around my house, like Think and Grow Rich and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and Man's Search for Happiness. I remember those being on the bookshelf. And I know my dad read them, but I don't know why. It just never occurred to me to read those to improve my life. I don't even know why, because I grew up around it. But you know, it's just amazing, the mindset shift. And I think anybody who's struggling in their life can benefit from books like, you know, like You Are a Badass, or like, I'm trying to think of some of the ones I love, but that one comes to mind most because that was one of the ones that really like shifted my mindset when I first started as a coach. But I think that it makes it so that you are more aware that you have to continue in the struggle. You know, like people think that, you know, they're going to try something, and when it gets hard, they're just like, oh, I guess this isn't for me. But instead they need to push through the struggle to grow, to get on the other side. And I think this is a mindset that's like been growing like in the last 10 years, like period, like with people. But I just feel like if people aren't growing that way and like putting new ideas into their head from, you know, greater minds and people who have already done all this stuff, that they're not going to grow, because every time you come against a wall and hit something that's really hard for you, then you're not going to push past it because your mind isn't prepared to do that, and you don't have the tools, you know, in your mindset to be able to push through that. So
that's, yeah. And you know what? It is so true. And I mean, you and I, you know, in the time, and I have no doubt that you've had, I have no doubt you probably talked to thousands of people through, you know, the instant messages, the private messages. And number one thing that is always, no matter what, without a doubt, is the mindset, is that fear of when, as the saying goes, when the what is it? When the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But
yeah,
it doesn't get going with a lot of people because it's stuck, you know, and it's just, and you're right. I mean, it's the struggle, it's the challenge that actually makes us grow, that actually makes us become better. Without that, you and I, we would not be sitting here. And let's keep it real, because yes, people who have personally known me, and I'm sure as well as yourself, before we even started this, we were different people. You know, for an example, for me, I've always been a very friendly, outgoing type of personality. That's just me. I'm an extrovert. But I would not have been inspiring thousands of people, and this I can actually attest. I would not be inspiring thousands of people within my 6 years being of a health and fitness coach with Team Beachbody. I would not be doing the videos. I would not be doing this right now had it not been through the struggles, through the challenges, pushing myself, pushing the boundaries, because humans are unlimited potential. And that's one thing that a lot of people unfortunately don't understand. So now that you've got your mindset ready, how has now coaching, let's dive into the coaching aspect. You now have been a coach, and I'm sure you've helped out, you know, some people along the way. And I'm sure, of course, as well as our coach being Scotty, at the same time, within that community, how has that made your life, you know, not, I guess not necessarily easier, but how has it changed your life now the way it was before without, you know, having the coaching in play?
Yeah, you know, it's incredible. I try to think back to how my mind was then. I know I was struggling as a mom. I was struggling to find purpose and to find like the right thing for myself. I don't know. When I was struggling to lose that weight, I remember just like breaking down in the closet because I couldn't find anything to wear. Nothing fit. Everything looked horrible. And I didn't want to wear my pregnancy clothes, and I didn't want to go buy new clothes because I was hoping to get back into my clothes. I remember like sitting, bawling on the floor of the closet, just thinking, how am I ever going to get through this? How am I going to change this? And, you know, with the help of that challenge group, with the help of people, just, you know, they were already in that mindset. Being surrounded by people who were already developing themselves that way. And it inspired me to develop myself that way. But then also just like, just knowing that other people were doing it helped, you know, kind of like a peer thing. But changing my own mindset so that I could push through my boundaries, so that I could, so I could also help others. That's a major thing that I love about this, is just, I know that like sparks went off in my head when I started just like putting these new ideas in my head, things that I'd never thought about and things that I had never thought that I could accomplish for myself. And I love seeing that in the people that come into my groups who, have never had that before. And it's like, you can see this light growing in their eyes. They are starting to be more confident. They're starting to know that they can accomplish hard things. It's just incredible. So I kind of think of myself that way, where like, seeing these people come in where they don't really have a purpose. They don't know exactly what they want for their life, but they want to change. And seeing them change little by little, I can see that that's how the process was for me, where, little lights start to go off in your head. You start to gain more perspective. You get better ideas about how to handle challenges in your life. And it just gives them purpose, light, excitement for what they're doing, and confidence. And I mean, just, I don't know how to explain it, but seeing that change in people reminds me of how that must have happened for me, how that growth mindset, came about, and how I, when I continue to surround myself by those type of people, I continue to grow in the ways that they are strong and I'm weak. I guess that's the other thing, is that, putting those ideas in your head helps you to grow in the things that you're weak.
Yeah. No, you know what? You're so right. And I probably might say this in every single call, but the saying goes, you are within the 5 people you surround yourself with. And it is so, so true. To your point, even including, I noticed the shift when I started surrounding myself with people who were go-getters, with people who were just like wanting more out of life, with people who were achieving what I wanted to achieve. And little by little, I'm starting now marking it off, on my list. And I'll say, okay, I got that, I got that. But it was because of the surrounding. It was because of the community. People just like yourself, Lacey, because me and you, we go 6 years back. We got to know each other online. You've seen my journey, I've seen your journey. You got to know me a little bit more, but it is because of that, to what you're saying. It was the fact that because you and I, were learning from not just Scotty, but also from other people and other people in the organization and in our company. You're like, wow, I can't believe that there is something that exists like this. I mean, you work on yourself to begin with, not just physically and mentally. You surround yourself by other uplifting people. You get paid to go ahead and do what you love. You get to share your story, and inspire thousands and hopefully millions of people. And then you leave a legacy behind. I mean, and I can go on and on and on, but I mean, guys, this is like the real deal. I mean, that's what I love about it, because it's not, I'm not editing anything. And I'm just going to leave it as this. I'm not going to go back and change anything. But, the excitement, the way you're presenting yourself, I never doing everything that you've done now, it wasn't like that. To your point, for ladies who are watching, it is a struggle when, you're pregnant and you go through the emotions, you go through the hormones. I mean, being a guy myself, unfortunately, I cannot, relate to this. Sure, ladies out there who are watching this, whether they're my viewers or whether they're viewers, can definitely relate to that, because it's hard after giving birth. It's hard, seeing yourself and seeing your body image. You're like, oh, so that's what I love about it, is that you get to work for yourself. That is the number one thing. And I think a lot of the times people right now, you have to be selfish. You have to do self-care. You have to do you first so that you can do everyone else and, put yourself with everyone else at the same time. So Lacey, you've changed your mindset. You've changed your body. You've changed how you now interact with people. You've inspired, hundreds of people at the same time. Now more than ever, it is like, what are your goals now? Now the people who are watching you, what do you want to say to them?
You know, I think that you can't count yourself out, and you can't discount your abilities to, you know, inspire other people, your ability to change who you are. And you can't like sell yourself short, because I mean, human beings have such limitless potential. I mean, I heard Les Brown say this, and I made a post about it recently, is that, you know, if you think back on your life and you can see that if you had it to do over, you could have done better, that just shows you how much potential you have. And that you, going forward, if you give yourself the skills and learn the things that you can and surround yourself with the right people, that you can accomplish so much more in the future than you had previously planned for yourself. Because, you know, I never thought that I wanted to be a coach, ever. I avoided it for 5 years. I just let, you know, I didn't want the discount. I didn't want anything to do with it. And I wish that I had started sooner, because I cannot imagine the person that I could have become if I had just joined the community earlier, if I had known the camaraderie, the encouragement, the motivation that these people give to each other in this organization. It is incredible. Just the type of people that stay here. You know, there's people that come and go all the time, and I just feel like they weren't able to cultivate the right mindset. But the thing is that potential is in everybody, to inspire, to love others, and to serve unconditionally. And I feel like the people in this organization who are in it for the right reasons, they do it to serve others. That's the first thing. I mean, yeah, you're right. They might make money at it. Everybody has to make money for time. We spend a lot of time helping other people. But the thing is that the people who are only in this to earn money, they never accomplish anything, because they do not have a servant mentality. And if you have a servant mentality, and if you are willing to like learn, keep yourself open to this opportunity, it can just rock your world. It's rocked my world, and I know that it's changed you too. It's just amazing the changes that we've seen in ourselves because we have been in this community.
I love something that you said right now. It's being a servant. That is something that I'm not sure how many people are religious out there or not, but you know, it is so true, because you know, the number one thing is being a servant to people out there. So if you kind of bring faith into this, a lot of people who are religious know that it was Jesus Christ who came onto earth, and he was a servant himself. So now, you being a human being, you're going to serve others, you know. And I'm not going to get into religion. I just wanted to quickly, you know, just kind of say that, because it's so true. What are you going to be doing here on earth? You know, you only got one life to live. And if you do not live to your fullest potential, then what's the purpose of just being born? You know, and it's so unfortunate that thousands, millions of people don't ever live up to their potential. And I love something that you said also with Les Brown, because Les Brown was the number one person that I went to when I first started my journey and listening to, and very powerful messages. Something this, he said, in the cemetery live the most dreamers, the most, you know, profitable people, you know, the best of the best. Why is that? Is because unfortunately, they never lived up to their full potential. And you know, if you're living now, if you're seeing this now, literally just like Lacey said, you know, don't wait. And I'm not just saying, you know, for our opportunity, guys, I'm just saying for life in general, don't wait until the time is already done and you are going to regret it, you know? So Lacey, you know, any last words? I mean, your story, I love it. I'm glad we were able to go ahead and do this, but any last words for your viewers, and something that maybe, you know, you want to just leave behind?
I don't know. I think I've said it. Just that if, I mean, even if you never joined us in our community, if you can, put yourself forward to learn every day and to consider yourself a servant first. Of course, we talked about, filling your own cup first. But the thing is that if you go to fill your cup, to learn a lot so that you can share it with others, you're going to help so many people and help yourself the most too. I just think that people don't give themselves a chance to do that because they don't think they're worth that. So there was a podcast I listened to recently, and I think it was Andy Frisella, can't remember his name. He did the 75 hard challenge. Mm-hmm. And he said something like, he hates the phrase, you are enough, because he feels like that stops people from a growth mentality. And I completely disagree with him, because I feel like that is the basis for realizing your potential. I feel like knowing that you are enough is the start of saying, look how far I could go. Mm-hmm. Like, if I am this person now and I am worth so much, especially because we have worth just as human beings, because we are our Heavenly Father's children, we have that worth inherent in us. And you are enough just because of that. And that realization gives you the purpose and the chance to push yourself higher and to know that you can accomplish more than you are doing right now. So I feel like I don't agree with what he said because of that reason, because that is the beginning point for people to realize their potential. And I know that every person watching this has that potential to be that person, to grow more. And I love people, and I love the chance they have to grow every day. I really think that every person has that inside them, to be that person, to be more, to grow, and to know your worth. And I just want to help people realize that every day.
Beautiful. So. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I know it's very emotional, because even with myself, geez, every single call, I'm having to grab a box of tissues later on, because it's, this is raw, guys. This is real. That's why I love doing these, because of the fact that I want every single one of you guys who are watching this, whether if you're a first timer, whether if you've been watching Lacey for months or years, all we want to do is just help you guys and live to your fullest potential, and just be a servant. Be a servant, because at the end of the day, like I said, when my time is gone, or Lacey's time is gone, whatever time that is, I want to say I did the best that I can with my life. And I'm sure, Lacey, you're the same way. You feel the same way, not just for yourself, but for your family, your children, your modern family.
Yes.
And I know that you want to do the best that you can every single day. Guys, every single day you wake up is an opportunity to be the best version and to be a servant. Point blank. That's just keeping it real, So, Lacey, thank you so much for joining on. I really do appreciate it. Your story, now even listening to more, as always, that's what I also love about this, because I get to know a little bit more, that sometimes, we go back and forth, but it's not fully on conversational the way it is now. That's why I wanted to go ahead and do this. That's why I wanted to go ahead and also have you be on my guest, on my show. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really do appreciate it for you taking your busy time, because I know you're super busy. So
yeah.
That's it. Lacey, thank you so much.
Thanks, Gio.
Beautiful story that you have, and I have no doubt you'll continue to inspire thousands of people out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for viewing. Again, this is, of course, being live, and then later on, if there's any comments, we'll definitely follow up with the comments, because it is on Zoom, putting it into Facebook Live. It's a little bit delayed, so we'll definitely check it out. So thank you so much. Tune in next week, guys, for another amazing story just like Lacey's was. And I cannot wait to go ahead and continue us being servants to all of you guys. Alrighty, have a great afternoon. Thank you, Lacey. Have a good one.
You too, Gio.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.